What's up, it's Marco, Sage of Soccer, and today I'll be talking about my preferred lineup and the lineup I think Gregg Berhalter will use for the USMNT national team's game against Saudi Arabia. This isn't going to be like a real preview like I did for the Japan game. While Saudi Arabia, they are still a good squad, they have to be respected for making the World Cup. I don't think we can really look at them in the same bracket as Japan with the amount of talent that they have, and I think we're a substantially at least more talented team, and we should be focusing this game more on ourselves than tailoring our style of play to our opposition like we should have done with Japan. And I'm sorry, I still have my wisdom teeth pulled pretty recently. You're going to have to deal with me mispronouncing stuff a little bit. But anyway, going into my preferred lineup, in goal, I'm going to be going with Matt Turner. At center back, I'm going with Mark McKenzie and Erik Palmer-Brown. At right back, Joe Scally. At left back, Sergiño Dest. I'm going with a 4-2-3-1, and I think we should have Tyler Adams next to Weston McKennie deep. Have Pulisic on the left, Brenden Aaronson on the right, Gio Reyna as a 10, and Josh Sargent up top. In goal, I'm going with Matt Turner over Ethan Horvath, and while I'd really like to give Ethan Horvath a game, I don't think his ability with his feet is substantially an upgrade over Matt Turner. It is better, but I don't think it's good enough that I can really justify taking Turner out of the game with just how well he's been doing with his shot stopping and how much of a game changer that he can be. Matt Turner will 100% be the goalkeeper for the World Cup, and I think we should treat him like that. If we want to give Horvath a game because we want to at least give our backup just a situation where he can come in, I'd be okay with that. But I think if we're taking this game seriously, we should be going with Matt Turner in goal. He's too good to leave off at this point. At center back, I'm going with Mark McKenzie and Erik Palmer-Brown over Walker Zimmerman. I just think that this game is more about our attack and trying to get our attack involved in the play, and I'm willing to sacrifice any defensive ability that Walker Zimmerman would bring over Erik Palmer-Brown in order to actually be able to build out the back. I think with those two center backs in, we'll be able to advance the ball into the midfield much better than we were against Japan. And I think that it's worth giving Erik Palmer-Brown the shot, and I don't think Walker Zimmerman should be our starter for the World Cup. I really like Chris Richards. I think Ricardo-Vickers has been playing well. And even with our center backs here, I think Mark McKenzie is a really good player that I want to test out. He's got that physical ability that we really like to see in a center back. He's two-footed. He can play on both sides of a center back role effectively. Some people even think that he's left-footed. He's not. And I really think that he's good enough to be tested in the squad. And Erik Palmer-Brown, like I mentioned, his ability on the ball is better than Walker Zimmerman, and I want to test out this attack today. Want to have them get some actual chances. So I think even if Walker Zimmerman is ahead of Erik Palmer-Brown on our actual depth chart, it's worth it to play Erik Palmer-Brown in this game. And something about Mark McKenzie is I want to point out that in 2020 he was named in the MLS Best 11 over Aaron Long. And since then, Aaron Long has torn ligaments in his knee, and Mark McKenzie has developed in Europe, and somehow Berhalter thought Aaron Long was still better than Mark McKenzie. But don't know how he would have gotten better in that time, but just something I wanted to point out. Then for fullback, I think it was the right idea to start Sam Vines at left back, but he didn't pass the test. It was worth giving him a shot to see if we have a good backup left back, but we don't, and I think Sergiño Dest has to be our other option there. He's shown that he can impact games from the left-hand side of the field, and I think he's our only real option. Scally can do a job there, but I think I prefer him on the right, and I think that's really our only options at the moment. Reggie Cannon has offered nothing offensively. He really doesn't offer – he's not great defensively as well. DeAndre Gedlin's a very similar player. I think that we have to go with Dest and Scally at the moment. If you want a crackpot idea for me, I think Luca de la Torre as a left wing back could have worked. If we had a three at the back defensively, just having another left-footed player on the field would definitely help, but it's way too late to test that, and it probably wouldn't have worked anyway. But it was my idea that I wanted to at least throw out there. In the midfield, the switch to a 4-2-3-1 is probably the most notable thing. I understand the system that we've been playing with, but I think it clearly doesn't get the best out of our players. Specifically, Tyler Adams would be a lot better if we switched the formation. I don't think it's a very hard formation to adjust to. I think everybody can do that pretty easily. And Tyler Adams, we've seen him under Jesse March at Leeds, where he's playing very well in that formation. I think pairing him next to McKennie would definitely get the best out of both players. McKennie is coming off a bad game, but he's probably not our most talented, but just our best overall player. Like, we've seen how good he can be at Juventus, and he's coming back from an injury. You can expect him to not be out to 100% immediately, but I think he's undroppable, and he needs to be in the squad. Going a bit further forward, Pulisic on the left, hoping he'll be able to stay wide. We'll have a good amount of talent in this team. I like him combining with Sergiño Dest. I think he could do very well. Just stay wide, be able to dribble out that Saudi Arabia defense, maybe getting behind the back line, have Mark McKenzie pick out a pass for him. Erik Palmer-Brown can do that as well. I think that could work very well. Gio Reyna, like to see him as the 10. I think it could be interesting to see him out on the right because I think he's good chemistry with Joe Scally from their time at NYCFC. But he's just too talented a player to push out on the right, especially in this group. I think that we need him as that 10, have him on the ball as much as possible, impacting the attack. Like, he's too good of a player to leave out on the wing, as I said. Like, just such a talented player, and we need to have him in the squad. Brenden Aaronson, honestly, I'm not too sure about him on the right. I think it's his worst position that he could play in this team. He'd be better in the midfield. He'd be better as a 10. He'd be better on the left. But I think he's kind of thrown out there at the moment. And I would like to see him as a 10. I think that could be very interesting. But I want to have Gio Reyna there. If we started Aaronson at the 10, I wouldn't be mad. But I think that's the best option for us. And up top, we got Josh Sargent. And it's really him kind of by default. I don't see Jesus Ferreira as a striker at this level. And I'll get into Pepe a little bit more. I don't really think he should be in this group right now. I think he should be with the U20 team, though he is confirmed to be starting. I think Sargent should be up there. He's been scoring goals a lot recently, and goal-scoring form is his only real issue. We know how well he can press. He can combine with players in the midfield. He can drop deep, and especially I would like to see him, Aaronson, and Pulisic really press this Saudi Arabia back line, try to force some mistakes. I think that could work very well. We've seen how Aaronson can press effectively against even a top team like Chelsea. I think that would be a very good option for us, but unfortunately it's not going to happen. But I still would have liked Josh Sargent to be in this team. For the team that Gregg Berhalter will use, I'm expecting him to go with his normal 4-3-3. I think that he's going to go with Matt Turner in goal, Mark McKenzie and Walker Zimmerman at the back, Sergiño Dest on the right and Joe Scally on the left, Tyler Adams at the 6, Weston McKennie at the 8, Brenden Aaronson also at the 8, and a front three of Pulisic, Pepe, and Ariola. For the team, I think that the biggest thing that I disagree with in the squad, well, one of them is Sergiño Dest on the right. I understand getting him on the right-hand side because he's the most talented player in his position, and we want to have our best players playing their best spot, but I think that would benefit the team as a whole if we shift him out to the left. I don't think that Joe Scally will be able to impact the game that much on that left-hand side, and it could lead to a similar situation that we had last game where the team's just really unbalanced. Pulisic's probably going to be drifting inside anyway, which he should be instructed not to do, and I think that it will really hurt our attack, but hopefully that won't happen. And hey, Scally's done a good job at left back before, but I don't think he's putting him in a position to succeed. Then we have Walker Zimmerman. I think he could be fine today. I don't think he's a problem against a good amount of teams in this world. I just think that when the opposition gets really tough, he's not going to be able to adjust, as happened against Japan. And he makes the team easy to plan for. I would rather test out Erik Palmer-Brown than have Walker Zimmerman in the squad. I don't think he's going to play badly. I hope he doesn't, at least, but it's just uninspiring, I guess. Then in the midfield, we're going to have Brenden Aaronson. I like Luca De La Torre, but I think that he isn't on the level of an Aaronson or a Musa. He's not in the debate for a starting role, and he's only there for depth and as an impact sub. And I have liked Aaronson in the midfield. Hopefully he'll be able to get further forward and affect play a lot. Again, I don't really have a problem with this, but I don't think it'd be the best situation for the team. My one fear is that we put Acosta in this position, which I like Acosta in a very specific role where he comes off the bench and helps us seal up a win, but he really shouldn't be starting for us. in any situation. Then we have Ariola on the right-hand side, and I don't think I have to give my feelings on Ariola, but I will. He shouldn't have been in the team. Like, he shouldn't be in the squad anyway, and I think he never should have been recalled to the squad after we failed to qualify in 2017. We shouldn't have ever recalled him to the team, and last year he was outplayed by Kevin Paredes in the MLS, and he isn't even our top U20 winger at the moment. And speaking of the U20 team, Ricardo Pepe. I am talking about the under-20 team at the moment at the Revelations Cup, and I'm excited about a lot of players in this team. And Ricardo Pepe would probably be the best player on that team. He has a ton of potential and could easily be a leading player for us in the future. But at the moment, it's just potential. And this is a position of need. This isn't us putting Gabriel Slonina as a third-choice goalkeeper who definitely won't play. We have a competition for striker, and I don't think he should be involved in it. Ricardo Pepe hit a good run of form last year where he played well against Honduras and Jamaica, and then didn't score for almost a year. I think he should be in the youth team, and that's not a particularly bad thing. I don't think you can justify selecting him on merit. Haji Wright has been in very good form. Jordan Pefok has been one of the best players in the Bundesliga, and even Brendan Vasquez has a better case to be in this team. And honestly, Ricardo Pepe being in the squad makes me think that there might have been some sort of like deal when he committed to the national team. We promised him a spot on the World Cup. Like, that's how much of a out of left field call up this is. And I think that he is going to be a very good player in the future, but I also think that about Brandon Craig and Paxton Aaronson and Alejandro Alvarado. I understand the potential, but honestly, like, this is kind of like a thing that like fans like me are kind of like mocked for. Like, if like I told you, like, oh, there's this 19-year-old striker in the Netherlands, he just scored his first goal and he should totally start for the national team. Like, that sounds like a straw man used against fans of Europe, like by like a lot of fans of the MLS, and yet Gregg Berhalter is starting Ricardo Pepe. Like, I'm rooting him for do well because the talent is there. Like, I see him as a very good player. I love his hold-up play. He's got very good movement. And overall, just like the prototype of what would be a great striker, but I can't agree with calling him up. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the team. The Saudi Arabia team is going to be a good test for the U.S., but I think that we have substantially a better group of players than them, and we should be winning this game. But yeah, sorry I've talked about. Hopefully we can get this win. And yeah, see ya.